To learn the good, the bad, and the reality of the off-grid lifestyle, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Well, it's cold and rainy again. Yeah, so we had about a week's worth of good weather, and now we're back to being cold, and I think it's gonna be like this for another week. Not so much the rain, but the cold. It's very cloudy, so not getting much of a charge on the solar panels today. That's okay. I mean, we're getting enough power that we can get through the day, and then this evening I'll run the generator to charge up. I'm still playing with the solar panels. I think for the most part they're doing really good. I got about 13 volts right now. I'd like to see 14.4, so we're doing all right. It's not, 12.3. I did come out here this morning and clear some more of this field that I'm trying to get cleared up. Like I said, I'm spending about 10 minutes a day clearing this. So when I get a lawnmower, I'm going to get a push mower here in a couple weeks. As soon as Walmart starts selling them, I'll be able to have all this cleared up and I can just start push mowing, 10 minutes a day. Hopefully get this cleaned up. By the time you get this video, there will have been 12 videos made of us living on this property. But as of the third video, people are already telling me how I'm going to be sued and how I'm breaking laws. For example, one thing is you see this power cord right here. Well, they're telling me that I'm already in violation because my camper is right here. So I'm trying to get this. Now the camper clears the power cord. So if it were to fall, it would not fall on my camper. But they're saying I got to have 6-foot easement so the power company can come through here. Okay, well, I got all this field. Once I get cleaned up, they have plenty of room to go through. Or they could just drive through here where the easement actually is. So I'm not in violation. I recognize the solar panels are sitting here. I get it. And actually today, I had a plan to get a frame built onto this so I can just easily pick them up by the frame and move them over to the field. The reason they sit here is because I get really good afternoon sun with them, and that's why I want to keep them. But if the power company were to come through, they could either literally go around the panels. There's plenty of room for them to go around. Or I can just pick them up and move them. And I'm going to have to pick them up and move them anyways, because when I start mowing, I'm going to have to be able to mow that area. I was going to use 2x2s from the old trailer up here. This is the trailer I've showed you several times that we're going to continue to tear apart. And then at the end over here, we're going to build our tiny house, 18 by 12. So it would come to about that tree, maybe a little bit more to the other side of that tree. But I was going to use these 2x2s right here to build the frame. And I'm kind of glad it rained today because these 2x2s are not long enough to make it work properly. By taking a few minutes to think about things, I realized that the floor of the trailer has longer 2x4s. So I could actually cut them in half and have 2x2s. These are some really nice 2x4s that are coming off the trailer. And they're 11 feet long. And I need 9 feet. So I'm glad I stopped, paused, and figured out what I wanted to do. So I didn't have to go through extra effort and time trying to figure out how to build a frame out of boards that are too short and still be able to recycle materials from this trailer. The less that we have to waste, the more we can reuse, the better. I'm hoping that we can find some more of these 2x4s that are in good shape that I can actually use to build our tiny house with. I'm sure it won't be a lot of them, but if I can just get, 5 or 6, I mean, that's money saved, materials that are recycled, and good for the environment, good for the pocketbook, all at the same time. Now, before I get into the crust of this video about people thinking that I need to be sued, already 3 or 4 days into seeing videos of me living on the off-grid lifestyle, I have already met one of the neighbors over here. And it is quite clear to me that their biggest priority in this town is to be left alone. They don't want to be bothered. They'll leave you alone, you leave them alone. They don't care what your property looks like, as long as you don't care what their property looks like. And that's kind of the attitude you get down here in the Southwest Missouri. Don't mess with me, I won't mess with you. But on the other hand, you do mess with them, I would imagine it's not pretty. As a matter of fact, the guy who owned this property prior to us, that guy over there was talking about him, Now, I don't know this guy from anything, and the only time I ever met him was over at the title company. Don't know anything about him. But apparently he was harassing this neighbor up here, and there's been conflict. And he says, I want you to be aware of this conflict, because if that carries over to me, he wants me to be aware of it so I can know how to resolve the problem before it gets out of hand. That's exactly what I think people around here want, is let's not take each other to court. Let's not go suing everybody. Let's not go bothering everybody and harassing everybody. Let's see if we can resolve these things on our own. And so, yes, I recognize that there's a huge mess right here. But I was told the other day from a commenter that if I was his neighbor, now remember, 3 or 4 videos in, and he's already threatening that if he was my neighbor, he would sue me for this. And for this. I don't even know what this is yet. What I suspect it is, it's the old septic tank. Back in the day, they were called cesspools or something like that. Yeah, they don't have a drain field or anything. It's what happens is the waste goes in here. You don't have gray water or anything. It's just your toilet waste goes into here, and then it seeps into the ground downstream. It's been here for 50, 60, 70, 80 years. A long time. But this guy's going to sue me as soon as I move in. Now, as I have documented, I've worked almost every day trying to get this place cleaned up. And I've talked about what I'm going to do about this. I'm going to check on this, see what it is, how it works, if there's any codes on it. And if I can't use it, then we're just going to compost our waste. It's not complicated. Composting is totally legal here. So this guy says he's going to sue me because I'm depreciating property value all the way around me. Well, first of all, you should go down to the town. We drove around just yesterday, or the day before yesterday, and nobody has a clean yard. Nobody. It's just kind of the mentality here that you leave me alone. There's junk yards over there. There was one yard, I think they just piled their trash outside. I'm not saying this is a perfect environment for folks who want to have beautiful manicured lawns, and what I want is to be able to live off grid. And the complexities of trying to find a place like that is impossible. And so since I have found a place where the neighbors are going to say, hey, I'm going to leave you alone, you leave me alone, I'll leave them alone. They can have their trash down there. I'll clean this yard up, have my little piece of paradise. And it's my freedom to do what I want, their freedom to do what they want. And I don't think, really, it's going to bother them that much that I'm building a tiny house living off solar panels. And I don't think their trash down there is going to bother me. But I did look it up. And you're absolutely right. If you were my neighbor, you could sue me if you're trying to sell your property, because property values can be depreciated 5 to 10% is what I saw. Now, my suspicions are trashy properties like what we see here, depreciating value on property is usually probably from cul-de-sacs and cities and subdivisions, HOAs, those kind of things. But I'm assuring you that if out here in the country, if this trash depreciated the neighbor's value, I'd be shocked. Because every place I looked, the value of the property was about $2,000 an acre. There was things that would increase the value, like the well. The well increased the value of this place by $2,000. Makes sense. It takes $2,000 to dig a well. There was $2,000 an acre, and we got it for $4,200. He wanted 48. We got him down to 42 because we said that we'd have to clean the property. But it doesn't affect his property value. We even talked about this old trashy trailer, and he said, nah, I don't care. Just do whatever you want. Burn it. I don't care. Do whatever you want. He didn't care. Doesn't care about his property value because it doesn't hurt property value. But one of the things I have noticed about nomad channels and off-grid channels, homesteading channels, is the big conversation is freedom. I want the freedom to be able to do whatever I want to do, and I don't want anybody telling me I can't do it. But it's interesting because a lot of people who come to watch these videos talking about how they want their freedom are the first ones to restrict someone else's freedom. Just like this person who told me that he would sue me if he was my neighbor. And then all of a sudden the laws are changed and everybody is now required to do the same thing because that neighbor was upset. I think that in a society where lawyers rule the roost, perhaps we can just leave sections of the world alone where it's unincorporated and people come out here to be free and not talk about suing each other. Thanks for watching.